And everybody, welcome to another edition of the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. I'm Jason Patterson. I want to thank you all for jumping on with us today. As you can see, we're doing a little bit of new things here with the new streaming service, so I'm kind of filling it out a little bit. So this is my first run with Restream. As you can see, there's the new logo up top as well with the Arkansas Diamond Report. Got Dudley here. If you go onto the QR code right there, that goes directly to Dudley's out there on hogville.net, and you can get all of the latest information with the Diamond Hogs, also with the softball team and the Lady Razorback basketball team. So make sure to jump over to hogville.com and check all of that out. So Dudley, how's it going?
It's going good. As you well know, I've been on a staycation this weekend. I've watched a lot of baseball up in the theater room and just kind of had a good resting time. But wanted to come back and do this today because I'll be in stands in St. Louis next week, the next weekend. So, but I'm sitting here with a list of 33 names in front of me, 11 portal additions. 17 high school signees and 5 junior college signees. They've lost 4 players to the transfer portal. They were all outfielders. And I'm just sitting here counting. There's a ton of outfielders they brought in. So there's going to be a lot of competition. He made, a point at the end of the year. Dave Van Horn made a point at the end of the year, but he had to have more athleticism and more athletes in the outfield that could do more than what they did this year. Just got to be very clear about that. And certainly it looks like they've gotten the opportunity and got the names to do it.
They have. So over the last couple of days, I know that, there have been some additions. Can you kind of go over exactly who has Dave brought on over the last couple of days? Dudley, if you can hear me, my guy, I am not hearing you for some reason. Let's see here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Holy cow!
I was saying the ones that have come on since we've been last time. Landon Badilis, I believe is how you say his last name. Mm-hmm. Left-handed pitcher from Ohio State, 6'3", 225. A guy they apparently expect to be in the weekend rotation. He is one of the guys, along with Zach Root, another left-handed pitcher. Zach Root transferred from East Carolina, or is transferring from East Carolina. Mm-hmm. Another left-handed pitcher, another guy they think could be in the rotation. And then Aiden Jimenez is yet another pitcher. He's a right-handed guy from Oregon State. Would have been apparently one of their weekend starters, but he got hurt before the season. And all 3 of those guys, they all have decent records and all that. But the thing about them, and the thing that clearly Arkansas was looking at, is those guys are all expected to be picks in the high round picks in the 2025 Major League Baseball draft. So they're going to get them in here, get a year. It's basically a contract year for these guys. But these are guys that, should be able to step in. And let's be honest, hey, nobody's going to replace the Hagen Smith role. Gabe Gackle may be able to approach it a little bit from what we saw him closing games and stuff. And he's going to move into the starting row. And, Gage Wood is out there starting in the Cape Cod League. That's another guy. And they've got tons of guys here that will have the opportunity. But I think they've beefed back up that pitching staff. And as we know, the second half of the season for sure, and certainly the last third of it, that was not a very complete rotation. You were getting 3 and 4 innings out of Brady Tigard and Mason Molina. And so you would think that they've gone out and done some things to add to that rotation. Also, they picked up some more position players. Michael Anderson is a big first baseman from Rhode Island. The first Rhode Island player transfer I think they've had since I've been around here, and I've been around here a while. A guy who, obviously could take right over there. And you got to figure that Ben McLaughlin is going to get drafted, and he's going to be able to, to have the opportunity to, to begin his professional career, and probably will. Rocco Pepe which is going to be fun for John Williams to say over the PA, I guess.
He's gonna have a fun time with that.
Another outfielder, 5'10", 200, Fresno State, is another guy they've added here recently. And probably the best name, he was already in before we started talking about it, Maximus Martin. Shortstop outfielder
Yes.
from Georgia State. That's probably the best name of the deal. One last guy I want to mention is a Division II All-American, led Division II in hitting, Carson Bowles, 5'11" from 190 Lincoln Memorial. I now know that that's in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay.
And he's a guy that hit 517 last year. And obviously we know Division II pitching is not Division I pitching, but still a guy that can make contact. And you don't go after those guys unless you're sure they can play. All 11 of these, they expect to make significant impact. And as we said, with the 4 outfielders leaving, including Cade Smith, who redshirted last year and didn't play, had several nice outings in the fall scrimmages. There's a lot of opportunity for these guys to come in and grab it, be you a transfer portal, a junior college guy, or high school guy. But let's be honest, when you go out and get these transfer guys, you're not getting them to come set the bench.
No, you're not. I do have a question. So the kid from Oregon State, I know that he's coming off of injury. Is it one of those things where Dave's kind of rolling the dice a little bit, taking a chance on him, or has he progressed enough to where he could possibly come in and not do a complete bullpen session, but at least see what the mechanics are after the surgery?
He has already returned to throwing. Like I said, this injury happened before the season, so that guy's had a full.
I'm sure there with Dudley's kind of froze up there for just a moment. We'll have to see if we can get him back on here in just a moment. I'm going to take him back for just a moment. So, with it's a very interesting point too, with having him come in and possibly throwing a little bit to see exactly what Dave has, because with that being said, you don't want to have a situation where he comes in and throws a little bit during the fall and then re-injures that arm again. It is a little bit of a roll of the dice, just for the simple fact that that he's coming off of injury. All the stats that are out there on him are from the 2023 season. So just want to make that a little bit clear. So we're going to get Dudley back in here in just a moment. So like I said, this is a new streaming system that we're using. So we're going to try to get the kinks worked out with all of the your thoughts, your comments, concerns, and whatnot. But I want to say also thank you to all of the folks that are in our services. I'm ex-Air Force firefighter, and I know what it is like to be able to not be with your family during a holiday. And want to say thank you for all of them that are out there putting their life on the line each and every day, and having to be away from their families, and celebrate the folks that are around you that are veterans as well, and thank them for their services too. So got Dudley back in here now. Let's check this out. Dudley, are you there, my guy? It doesn't seem quite yet. We're gonna back him out in just a second. So anyway, want to say thank you to all the veterans out there for everything that they've done, and and also the ones that have paid the ultimate sacrifice as well. And it's something that you always have to keep in your foremind a little bit about too. So yesterday was the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I want to go into that because that's a huge 4th of July celebration on Coney Island. The winner yesterday, I did not get the guy's name. He ate 58 hot dogs in the time span that they allotted, which is right around 12 less than what Joey Chestnut would have. Well, he's accomplished before, and so you see the disparity on not having Joey in the competition, and also with Kobayashi that has retired. And so you have to look at that and say, wow, that is a pretty big drop off there too. Let's see here. Let's go see if we can get him back on here.
That wasn't
Hey.
that wasn't a streaming service. That was a me thing. That was my computer deciding it was on vacation and it's staying on vacation. Yes, so
He's out there by the pool, isn't it?
something like that.
I was going over the 4th of July Coney Island hot dog eating contest that was hosted by Nathan's Hot Dogs, and how Joey Chestnut was eliminated or disqualified for lack thereof a better term, going with another wiener.
Yes, that is true. I've actually been to that in 2000. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. It was the Lindsay senior year. Lindsay's 35 now. So my daughter Lindsay, she wanted to take a senior trip to New York, and we went there. And one of the things we did was go to Coney Island. And Jimmy Dykes was actually the analyst for the thing, and we got to see Kobayashi. Kobayashi, be able to win, and so that was a big deal. We've always been anti-Joey Chestnut in this family. Obviously he's a great eater and has done wonderful things at that competition. But if I signed a deal with somebody else besides Hogville, Lanny wouldn't pay me, wouldn't let me on here. I totally understand this. I don't understand why he thought that he could get away with that. That's like wearing both Nike and Adidas or whatever, whatever the latest thing is. And so I totally understand that. But yes, I watched it again, and it's probably been 30 plus years now that I've seen those things. And ESPN does a great job with it. I love George O'Shea, the announcer.
He's great.
He's the best part of it, I think.
Yeah, he makes a great spectacle of it. Even just the entrance and how he's got some mad rapping skills too, if I'm not mistaken. Because there's been a couple of years where I saw it and he just sits there and just starts going. And I thought, I never would have pictured this guy being able to rap so damn well.
Yeah, he's the hot dog mafia too, man. You don't mess around with him up there. It's pretty interesting.
So, yesterday was 4th of July. What was the best part for you guys at the Dawson house?
Getting to spend time with the wife and the puppy.
Can't hear you again, Dudley. If you can hear me, my guy. So, I would have to say probably the best part for me was and Dudley, if you can hear me, we're not able to get your audio for some reason. I'll back you back out for just a second here. Are you there, Dudley? So, I would say probably the best part for me was, and I know that this was probably a huge downer for some folks, but for me, it was probably the rain. I loved the fact that we got some much needed rain. I mowed the yard yesterday. It was pretty ugly. I know it's going to probably make all this grass grow and stuff, but it's made things a lot greener now, and it is a lot safer too with shooting all the fireworks off and all that great stuff. But at the same time, being able to just go out, feel the rain, and it got cool, which was personally my favorite thing, because me and heat, we just don't mix. But also, whatever you guys have, if there's any best parts of your 4th of July, throw those up there too as well. We'll talk about that. Let's see here. Let's see what we got Dudley going here again. All righty, got you now. All right, Dudley, can you hear me? If Dudley, if you cannot hear me, I can hear you. Okay, get you all set up there. Anyway, so
let's try that again. Here we go.
There you are. Gotcha. I was just saying that the best part of the fourth for me yesterday was probably the rain. One, we needed it, and two, it cooled things down. It made things a little bit less insufferable, because it's just, I love the rain. Always have.
Yeah, and I never thought 85 would seem like a great temperature. but it does after this past week. And as you know, we are about to get a new air conditioning system here. Pretty excited about that. But that 90 degrees without an air conditioning downstairs at least has been rough. So there's a lot of time spent by the pool when that happens.
I was going to say it's probably a lot cooler in the pool probably than it is downstairs. So this is something I wanted to kind of hash over with you too a little bit. I'm starting to try to incorporate this a little bit more. I talked to Otis about this, and there was a couple of things that we had talked about as far as old Razorback stories. And
so you went to some old Razorback writers.
Well, I figured that if I was able to at least capture a couple of you guys and your insight and thoughts and old stories, I think that it kind of ties things in a little bit more. And I think it's a lot of fun. Last week, Otis and I were talking. He was talking to us a little bit about some of the stuff back in the 80s that he was a part of. I talked about some of the one of my first football games that I had went to. It was snowing and it was cold, and had a really good time talking about some of those stories. On 13th birthday, got to meet Steve Spurrier whenever they come up here and thrashed Arkansas 56-3. And it wasn't a good day to be a Razorback fan, but it was a good day to beat Steve Spurrier. Had a good time with that. But, what are some of your first memories of Arkansas sports?
Well, the living in Newport, growing up, or at least going to school in Newport, I actually lived in a small farming community called Balch. Went to school there in Newport and got a lot of great memories of Arkansas sports. But really, for the first part of my life, maybe the first 10 years, I wasn't really much of an Arkansas fan. I was more of a Memphis State fan. Mm-hmm. That's because we got Memphis TV over there too, and they were playing the Memphis Tigers games late at night, 10:30. They would replay them, and I just thought that was great. You got a chance to watch them, and so I kind of followed them back. When they had Larry Keenan and such a lot of great players, James Gunn and all those guys that led them to the famed game against Bill Walton in UCLA. But my story leads into this. When I became an Arkansas basketball fan as a youngster, it was when the first game that Channel 7 did the same thing that Memphis had been doing. It was Arkansas and Houston. It was the triplets. It was Coach Sutton. They were fantastic to watch, and I kind of shifted my allegiance then right away because of that crew. But it came on Channel 7 like 10:30 at night, and from that point on, the state was a basketball school a little bit, but nothing like it was with football. And I think Coach Sutton and those triplets did a great job in capturing the state's attention for basketball. And at that point, basketball started having a lot of success with Coach Sutton and triplets, and continued on in the 80s when my good late buddy Charles Valentine came up here, and I came as part of the package deal. You got him, you got me. I thought I was going to be a point guard. I was going to be a manager, and then later a graduate assistant. But it's all good. But that led to some great memories, obviously from the bench and all that. But I'll never forget that night. I think it was 92-47, and just seeing the triplets just destroy Houston, and being able to see that was my first Razorback game to watch.
That's so funny that you mentioned that it was at 10:30 at night. So that wasn't even live. That was a retape. And back then, that's what people kind of were used to. I mean, I think that people these days would lose their ever-loving mind if they had to watch a retape of a basketball game with the technology that we have today.
Yeah, let's be honest. People lose their mind when it's not on the regular TV. Again, I've said this, and I'll continue to say it. If you don't have a smart TV, why not? Mm-hmm. I don't understand. Why do you have a dumb TV? You'll get your smart TV that has all these ESPN Plus things, and you'll never miss a game. There are no missing games around here at the Dawson household. We have many TVs. We have many streaming services. We do that instead of going out a lot. it works well for us.
Yep. I would have to say my first recollection of really kind of having the Razorback basketball capture me was the Arkansas UNLV game at Barnhill. I did not go to it. And the reason why I didn't go to it is because, well, it was hard to get tickets to that one because that one was that was the thing to do. And I got really salty because a family member of mine was bragging about it. He was telling us, "Oh, we're going to go see Arkansas and UNLV," and that was the game that Larry Johnson told Nolan Richardson he needed to go out and find some men. And
I was there. The game started at 10 a.m. They let out some church services, or had them early and all that for that. The thing I'll remember is that it was my daughter's third birthday, February 10th, 1991, her third birthday. And we celebrated that later in the afternoon, but telling the 3-year-old you got to go to work at 10 a.m. in the morning to cover a basketball game on her birthday, that was not not an easy thing to do. My late wife and her mother Laura, kind of helped work that out. So at least we got through that. It was a great ball game. I'm sure fans would have rather Arkansas have come out of that in a better shape. That was a heck of a team.
God, it was
on both sides, really.
Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon. I'm going to tell you what, those guys were dudes. They would go, and that was probably where it first captivated me as a Razorback fan, because that was one of the biggest games that I could remember to that point, where there was such a buzz around the entire area, not just Fayetteville, but it was all over Northwest Arkansas. And at that time, that was kind of hard to do because things were not as closely connected like social media has connected us today. And whenever it was something big like that, everybody took notice of that.
Yeah, and there were some private planes that came in here from Vegas that had some dudes on them that, probably hung out with Frank Sinatra a little bit back in the day. That was an interesting crowd of boosters that UNLV brought in here. They looked the part that you would have as wise guys in a movie. That added another element to it.
That is crazy. And one of the things that I also want to bring up too is that Arkansas baseball has, with Norm DeBryan and his 40 years here, and it seems like, or 30 years, and Dave and what he's done, I feel like they've done a lot to incorporate the fans back into the stadiums, because I remember I went to a couple of games. So, and I'm going to kind of go around a long ways to make my point. So the old George Cole Field is where the new Razorback, or the current Razorback practice field is, where the parking deck is as well. And it was easy to get on the field. Literally the only thing standing between you and Razorback Road was a gate, and it didn't even have a lock on it. You could just flip that sucker up and walk right in, and of course somebody's gonna catch you. But one of my first recollections was going to baseball camp there, and John Lickey, great dude. He was coaching the pitchers and stuff like that. He said, whenever you come here, it should be a special moment, because whenever you see the Razorbacks take the field, this is what you should want to be whenever you grow up. And I wouldn't say it's more of an indoctrination, but it's more of you're wanting to tie the younger fans into the game itself. I think that Dave does a great job with that too, and with the promotions that they do and how they have such an interaction with the fans and the kids too. But whenever they have those baseball camps, they're able to start to reach these younger kids. And that's what they were doing back then whenever I was a kid 30 years ago, to what they're doing today. And whenever you have a staff that's committed to not only coaching these kids, but getting these kids invested in the team, first off, it has fingers that grow throughout the household because your parents hear about it. I mean, you're going to be going to the hog pen because, I mean, let's face it, those some of those tickets are behind home plate and down the third and first base line. They're not the most affordable, but getting into the hog pen is always fun, and it's a blast. And I think that with what Dave does with the kids that have come to these camps and stuff, I think they do a really good job of trying to incorporate that and transcend what Norm was doing and what now Dave Dave does.
I write about baseball recruiting a lot, and obviously, with Coach Van Horn and his staff, they know about these kids, 7th and 8th grade. And we've had several that have committed right out of the 8th grade. If you don't commit for your 10th graders, you got to wonder what's going on these days. But they've done a wonderful job in building up the program that Coach DeBryan started from the ground up. They, unlike basketball and football, rarely ever miss a in-state recruit that could really help. It's Caldwell from Valley View, who will be a first-round draft pick. I was going to go to Ole Miss. That's one guy. Very rarely do you find any kids that are great in this state that don't end up here coming playing for the Razorbacks. It helps to have a great program. It helps to have a program that goes to the College World Series a lot. I've seen a lot of early projections of teams that will be in the College World Series this in 2025, and Arkansas is being mentioned as one of those teams, and it's because what they've done here in recruiting, and because of the aura and thing that Arkansas has done over the years to put themselves in position. Didn't finish it this year, didn't finish it last year, but obviously they finished it 11 times. At least Coach Van Horn has 11 times between Nebraska and here.
So, quick question on your last point, Dudley. Who's one of the lead recruiters for Arkansas baseball?
That would be your hitting coach, the one that segment of the population or segment of the fan base here wants to change out. To me, it looks to me like instead of changing out the coach, they've changed out the players, and we'll see how that works out. You would think that Arkansas has been horrible on offense the last 10 years or something. That's not the case. Pitching overshadowed the offense this year. This was not a good offense. It was not a well-balanced, well-rounded offense, and they've tried to go in here and do some things about it. Now, we won't know. Really, I'll see them. It appears it's going to be fall ball is going to start in mid-August now because, as Coach Van Horn said, they're going to start a little early because at the end of the fall ball drills, they're going to play 2 games, he said, in a very cool setting. That has not snuck out to me yet where that is, but you got to figure it'll be around here somewhere. Maybe it's in Arlington again. In the fall, we'll see what they got going on with that, but look forward to that. But we're going to get to see them early, but we won't know really what they got until they start playing, obviously, in February. But you have to believe when you look at the background of these kids that they've got coming in, including the high school kids, although they think they're going to lose 4 of those guys, at least out of the 17 high school signees they have. Carson Wiggins is, being one of them, a pitcher, a couple of shortstops, guys that they got commitments from or signed, but knew that if the money's there, that they're probably going to go pro. But you never know. Peyton Stovall, we all thought he was going to go pro, and got, from every indication, got offers of $2 million plus. But wanted more, bet on himself, and is probably going to end up as one of the top 3 round picks, and have a very successful career up there, I bet. Especially now that he looks to be injury free.
Yep. So before we get out of here, I did want to ask you about an update. How has Mike Neighbors and Lady Razorbacks, and it feel like they were taking some lumps in the in the public eye at the end of the season. Also took some lumps from folks that were criticizing what he's the ladies that he's recruited. Have you gotten any updates on how things are going with practice and how they're kind of like meshing and molding a little bit?
Yeah, put a story up on Hogville. I believe it was that I wrote before I went on this staycation that lists all their recruits. I had him go over a lot of things with the class, and the one thing that stands out, and it stand out pretty good. He realizes the last 2 years hasn't been good enough. He knows there was acrimony within the program. He's set out to fix that. You've got to if it's not working, you got to do something different, and that's what he's done. This recruiting class is an interesting one. He got the National Junior College Player of the Year, Kiki Smith. He's added some, obviously, Izzy Higginbotham, the former Batesville Star that started her college career at Missouri, was great at Arkansas State, is coming in the program, and Jada Bates, and then a litany of the UN's favorite players, international flavor. I think there's from 6 different countries that they will have people on this roster next year. And, there is absolutely no way to tell how this is going to go. But he makes the point in my story that you can go find there at Hogville that he's energized and having as much fun coaching as he can, because they're having to teach them everything new. There's a lot of different cultures and different things that, they're going on over there. It's going to be, I don't know how it's going to go. It may be just like how I think Petrino's going to go, spectacularly great or spectacularly bad.
Yeah.
This football season. I don't see any middle ground there. And, that's, I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on over there. He's excited, but again, he knows that the criticism was valid. You just can't miss the tournament this next year. The seat's warm. He knows it. We all know it.
Yep. Also, head over, if you scan that QR code with your camera on your smartphone, that will take you directly over to hogville.net, over to the Omahogs section. You can back out of that too. Also go into the Lady Razorback section as well, and that's where you can find the story that Dudley wrote with his interview with Mike Neighbors. Well, Dudley, I'll get you out of here. You guys have got a trip coming up to St. Louis, as you can see in the background. I think that's where you're going to be next weekend. And so I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And thank you for kind of bearing with us a little bit here on the Razorback, the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. I'm Jason Patterson, and you guys have a great weekend.